Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, folks, into Blueprint, the book by Ross Edgley.
Oh, a fascinating choice for this deep dive.
It is. It's this wild fitness journey he takes, right? Packed with, crazy training techniques, pushing limits, you name it.
Definitely. Edgley's known for pushing boundaries.
And we're going to, distill all that into actionable steps you can take to be more resilient, improve your performance, just like Ross.
Sounds like a plan. I'm excited to see what gems we uncover.
So the book, it's not just about, lifting weights or running marathons. Ross really goes all out. Swims with sharks, pulls cars.
Oh, I remember that towing a car, wasn't it?
Yeah? He tries out this Spartan diet thing.
Ah, the Spartans. Always a good source of inspiration. And intimidation, perhaps.
Definitely a bit of both. But before we get into those crazy feats, let's start with something basic. Why do we even crave adventure? Why do we push ourselves?
Well, that's a question that's fascinated philosophers and scientists for ages.
Right, is there something in our DNA?
Edgley actually talks about this wanderlust gene idea, suggests that some people might be genetically predisposed to seek out new experiences.
Okay, so maybe some folks are hardwired to climb Everest.
Exactly. Might explain those early human migrations, pushing into unknown territories.
Interesting. But what about the rest of us, the ones who aren't necessarily drawn to, like, jumping out of planes?
Even without a wanderlust gene, I think stepping outside our comfort zones is essential. It's how we grow, adapt, become more resilient.
Makes sense. So it's not about being a daredevil. It's about challenging ourselves in whatever way works for us.
Exactly. And Blueprint really emphasizes that. It's about finding those challenges, pushing those boundaries.
Now, speaking of pushing boundaries, Edgley takes it to a whole other level in the book. He spends time with the Evenki reindeer herders up in the Arctic Circle.
Oh, yes. Those chapters are incredible.
They have these intense methods for building stamina and toughness. Living in those conditions, you kind of have to, right?
Absolutely. And those techniques, they're definitely, unique.
To say the least. There's a whole section about their reindeer castration ritual.
Right, a ritual they believe helps maintain male vitality in freezing temperatures. Edgley even participates, which shows his commitment to immersive research.
I mean, that's dedication. Not sure I'd be up for that particular challenge.
It's a vivid example of stepping outside one's comfort zone, though, isn't it?
Definitely. So, while most of us won't be, castrating reindeer anytime soon, the point is clear. Growth comes from embracing challenges, even if they're a little uncomfortable.
And that discomfort, that's where resilience is forged. That's a recurring theme throughout the book.
It's not just about physical strength, it's about mental toughness, too.
Absolutely. So it begs the question, what adventures are calling to us, even in our daily lives?
What comfort zones can we push?
What boundaries can we break through? Those are the questions Edgley wants us to ponder.
Good food for thought for our listeners. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does Edgley actually approach training? I know periodization is a big part of it.
Yes, it's a core concept in Blueprint.
Can you break that down for us? What exactly does periodization involve?
It's basically structuring your training in alignment with natural cycles. Think of it as seasons of training.
Okay, I like that. Seasons of training. So what are these seasons and what do they focus on?
Well, you have autumn, which is all about active recovery. Think prioritizing sleep, rebuilding strength, flexibility. Then there's winter, which Edgley calls the base building phase.
It sounds pretty intense.
It is high volume, low intensity training inspired by, well, Spartan warriors and, believe it or not, Soviet era training methods.
Wow. Combining ancient and modern approaches.
Exactly. Then you move into spring, where the intensity ramps up. This is where you specialize your training to match your specific goal, your adventure.
So getting laser focused. And then summer.
Summer is the peak phase. It's all about fine-tuning your technique, simulating race conditions, mentally and physically preparing for the main event.
It's like the grand finale of all your hard work, a whole year of preparation. It's really interesting how Edgley ties this periodization concept back to ancient philosophy.
Oh, absolutely. He references thinkers like Seneca, who advocated living in harmony with nature.
So it's not just about being effective, it's about following natural rhythms.
Exactly. In this philosophy, it goes beyond periodization. You see it in his approach to foot health, for example.
Oh, right. The infamous squishy sea feet incident.
After 157 days of swimming, Ross's feet were, shall we say, not in their best shape.
He needed some serious rehab.
He calls it ancient modern rehab. He explores the mismatch hypothesis, which argues that modern footwear, well, it can actually hinder our feet's natural function.
You mean our comfy shoes might be doing us harm?
Potentially. Constantly wearing shoes can restrict natural movement, weakening muscles, and affecting balance.
So it's not just about comfort, it's about functionality. And what does Edgley suggest we do about it?
He recommends incorporating barefoot running and walking into our routine. Strengthen those foot muscles, improve balance, reconnect with, our evolutionary history.
So ditching the shoes every now and then isn't just for hippies, it's about restoring our natural gait.
Exactly, finding that balance. And this idea of balance, it carries over into Edgley's approach to building resilience, which brings us to this concept of ascesis.
Ah, ascesis. Sounds intriguing. What is it exactly?
It's an ancient Greek practice of deliberately seeking discomfort in nature to build both physical and mental toughness.
So like purposefully putting yourself in challenging situations.
In a way, yes. Edgley uses things like ice swimming, barefoot running on rough terrain activities that force you out of your comfort zone.
So the idea is that discomfort, in the right doses, can actually make us stronger.
Precisely. It trains the body and mind to adapt to stress, to be more resilient when things get tough.
This reminds me of that story where he goes ice swimming with Eddie Hall, the strongman.
Oh, yes. Classic use cases. It emphasizes the importance of acclimatizing to cold gradually, the potential benefits of cold exposure.
So even the strongest people need to respect nature's power. And speaking of pushing limits, let's talk about fuel. How does Edgley approach food and nutrition with all these demanding workouts?
He really stresses the importance of viewing food as fuel. He adopts this Spartan-like mindset when it comes to eating.
The Spartan diet. I'm picturing lots of raw meat and grunting.
Not quite that extreme, but it's about prioritizing nutrient density and functionality over, let's say, pure indulgence.
So it's about making choices that support your training and well-being, not just about taste.
Exactly. He even tells this funny story about the Spartan black broth, this famously disgusting concoction they ate.
Oh, I've heard of that. What was it, boiled pig's blood or something?
Something like that. Anyway, there's this anecdote where a wealthy guy from a city known for its luxury tries it, takes one sip, and says, "Now I understand why Spartans welcome death. No more black broth."
That's hilarious. I guess it puts things in perspective.
Definitely. Different cultures, different approaches to food, and, well, resilience.
We've talked a lot about physical training, recovery, even food. But what about the mental side of things? How does Edgley address mental toughness?
He dedicates a significant portion of the book to it. He argues that mental resilience is just as crucial as physical strength.
So it's about mastering our minds as much as our bodies.
Absolutely. He shares this incredible story about Jason Fox, a former Special Forces soldier. During this grueling transatlantic rowing race, Fox ran into, well, a rather delicate situation.
I'm intrigued. What happened?
Let's just say digestive issues, cramped boat, limited privacy. He calls it the space pretzel incident.
Oh my, that does sound challenging.
It became a real test of his mental fortitude. But even in the face of extreme discomfort, he found a way to push through.
Wow, that's impressive. So how do we cultivate that kind of mental resilience? What strategies can we use?
Well, those are the questions Edgley dives into. He explores various techniques for building mental toughness. And then he moves on to another crucial aspect of training, sleep.
Sleep, I mean, it's important, but
He argues that it's absolutely vital for recovery and performance. He even goes to Namibia to learn sleep strategies from the Juwasi tribe.
really, learning from ancient wisdom.
Exactly. It turns out they have some incredibly effective techniques for maximizing sleep quality.
Like what?
Aligning sleep with natural light cycles, establishing a consistent sleep routine, reducing caffeine.
Simple yet powerful stuff. So we've covered periodization, recovery, mental toughness, and sleep. Quite a foundation. But how do these principles apply to specific adventures?
That's where the principle of specificity comes in. Your training needs to match the unique demands of your chosen activity.
So a personalized approach.
Exactly. He gives examples of how training would differ for, say, swimming versus running versus rock climbing.
Makes sense. Different activity, different demands on the body.
Right. And he also gets into this concept called the force velocity curve. It basically explains how strength and speed relate to each other.
The force velocity curve, huh? I'll have to brush up on that one.
It's fascinating. It helps you understand how to train for different types of movements, whether it's explosive power or endurance. Edgley really has a knack for making these complex scientific ideas accessible, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. He's a great storyteller, and he uses those stories to illustrate the science. It makes it stick, but let's be real, not every adventure goes smoothly. How does Edgley deal with the inevitable setbacks and failures?
He dedicates a whole chapter to embracing failure.
Really, a whole chapter on failure.
He argues that it's an inherent part of pushing your limits, of pursuing any goal.
So it's not about avoiding failure, but about how you react to it.
Exactly. He emphasizes learning from your mistakes, adapting, and persevering, especially when things get tough.
That's such an important message,
Yeah.
especially in a culture that often glorifies success and downplays the value of failure.
I agree. He reminds us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone on the path to it.
It's like that story he tells about swimming in the Caribbean while towing a tree. The tides and currents were against him, and he ended up having to swim twice the distance he planned.
Oh, right. Talk about a setback.
It shows that even with the best planning, you can't always control everything. Sometimes you just have to adapt and keep going.
Resilience in action. But does Edgley ever extend this bulletproof philosophy beyond individual endeavors? What about teamwork and group challenges?
He does. He talks about coaching a group of celebrities to swim the English Channel. It emphasizes the importance of inclusivity and breaking down stereotypes in swimming.
Oh, yes, that's an inspiring section, especially Alex Brooker's journey learning to swim with a prosthetic leg.
Right. It shows that with the right support and determination, we can overcome incredible challenges.
And Edgley highlights how crucial teamwork is, having shared goals, supporting each other, celebrating victories together.
That sense of community can be so powerful, especially when you're pushing your limits.
He ends that section with the story of Jaxico, this amazing 70-year-old swimmer who continues to defy expectations. It's a reminder that age is just a number. We can keep challenging ourselves and experiencing the joy of adventure at any stage of life.
That's truly inspiring. It sounds like Blueprint has a wealth of valuable insights to offer.
It certainly does, and we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, and it really underscores that anyone can embrace this bulletproof philosophy.
Right. It's not just for elite athletes or adventurers.
Exactly. It's about finding those challenges and pushing those boundaries no matter what level you're at.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from the science behind periodization to mental toughness, even sleep.
We have. It's been a whirlwind tour of Edgley's world.
Before we wrap things up, what really stuck with you? Any anecdotes or insights from Blueprint that were particularly memorable?
Oh, there were so many. But you know that second in where he coaches a group of celebrities to swim the English Channel?
Oh, that was awesome.
It just showcased the transformative power of adventure and how, perceived limitations can be overcome.
And it was so inspiring to see Alex Brooker learning to swim with a prosthetic leg.
Right. It really highlighted that, with determination and support, anything is possible.
And let's not forget the image of Arg being slattered in Vaseline before each swim.
Oh, that was classic. A good reminder that sometimes you got to embrace the unconventional to achieve extraordinary things.
Definitely. It's all about prioritizing performance over, looking pretty.
Exactly. And the book delves into those nitty-gritty details of training too, doesn't it?
It does. He talks about energy systems, muscle fibers, even something called the force velocity curve.
He doesn't shy away from the science, which I appreciate.
But he presents it in such an engaging way, using those personal anecdotes to make it relatable.
Right. It's not just a dry textbook.
He's a gifted storyteller, that's for sure.
And a skilled science communicator.
It's not just about understanding the what, but also the why and the how.
Precisely. He empowers you to take control of your training and make informed decisions.
That's what makes Blueprint so valuable, I think. It's not just a training manual. It's a guide to building a resilient body and mind.
It's a philosophy for life, really.
This deep dive has honestly left me feeling inspired.
Me too.
And maybe a little bit tempted to try a barefoot run.
Well, remember, rest is also important.
True. Maybe I'll start with a nap and work my way up to the barefoot running.
Sounds like a good plan.
Before we sign off, though, I want to hear from our listeners.
Oh, yes, definitely.
What's the biggest takeaway for you from Blueprint? What resonated? What sparked your curiosity? What motivated you to, take action and build your own bulletproof body and mind?
Those are great questions.
We've covered a lot of ground, exploring Edgley's unique approach to training, which combines science and philosophy and a whole lot of grit.
It's a captivating blend, and it shows that pushing your limits, embracing challenges, it's not just about physical strength.
It's about mindset, too.
Absolutely. It's about building that inner resilience that helps you overcome obstacles both in training and in life.
And honestly, it's kind of contagious, isn't it?
I think so.
I find myself looking at everyday activities differently now. Like taking the stairs instead of the elevator feels like a mini adventure.
That's the spirit. It's about finding those little ways to challenge yourself, even in mundane moments.
It's about reframing your perspective, viewing discomfort as an opportunity for growth.
Exactly. And cultivating that bulletproof mindset.
So before we wrap up completely, let's just recap some of those key takeaways from Blueprint that really stood out to us.
I love that idea. For me, the emphasis on periodization was a big one, working in sync with natural cycles.
Like, why fight against nature when you can work with it?
Exactly. And of course, the concept of ascesis, embracing discomfort to build resilience.
Stepping outside your comfort zone, even if it's a little scary at first.
And we can't forget sleep.
Right. Sleep is not for the weak.
It's essential for recovery and performance.
The importance of specificity in training also resonated with me.
Tailoring your training to your specific goals, whatever those may be.
So there you have it. 10 key takeaways from Ross Edgley's Blueprint, a book that encourages you to push your limits, embrace challenges, and live a life full of adventure.
It's a powerful message.
It is, and we encourage all of you to check out the book for yourselves and see how you can apply these principles to your own lives.
There's so much to discover.
Because remember, adventure awaits, and you have the power to build your own bulletproof body and mind.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, we've really explored the depths of Edgley's blueprint,
We have a fascinating journey.
and now it's time to, crystallize all that wisdom into actionable takeaways.
Yes, let's distill those key insights into, say, 10 potent points our listeners can use.
10 points. Perfect. I'm ready when you are.
All right, number 1, embrace the power of periodization.
Periodization, yeah. Syncing your training with those natural cycles.
Exactly. Working with your body's rhythms, not against them.
Makes a lot of sense. What's next on the list?
Number 2, venture beyond your comfort zone.
Oh, right, ascesis.
Yes, seeking out those measured discomforts, building up resilience.
Moving those boundaries, yeah. Discovering that hidden strength.
And number 3, I think this one's crucial, prioritize sleep.
Sleep. Can't argue with that.
It's the foundation, really, for recovery, for peak performance.
We'd often underestimate it, don't we? But it's so essential.
Absolutely. All right, number 4, specificity in training.
Specificity, right. Making sure your training matches your goals.
Exactly. Whether you're training for a marathon or just, navigating daily life,
Tailor your approach, yeah?
makes it more effective.
Number 5, and this is important, embrace failure.
Failure, like actually seek it out.
Not quite. But see those setbacks as opportunities for growth.
Oh, okay. Learn from your mistakes, adapt, keep going.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
Resilience in action. Number 6, what do we have next?
Number 6 is fuel your body wisely. Food as fuel.
The Spartan diet. Think more about nutrient density, functionality.
Yeah, make those conscious food choices to support your training, your well-being.
Right. Okay, number 7, cultivate mental fortitude.
Oh, the mental game. That's huge.
It is. Your mind is powerful. Don't underestimate it.
It can help you overcome obstacles and achieve those goals.
Absolutely. All right, we're getting close. Number 8,
What is it?
balance. Finding that balance between modern advancements and our primal instincts.
Okay, I'm following. Like using technology, but also remembering our natural capabilities.
Exactly. Like incorporating barefoot training.
Right. Strengthening those feet, restoring those natural movement patterns.
Number 8, and this is one of my favorites, foster adventure in everyday life.
Adventure in the everyday. I like that.
Look for opportunities to push yourself, even in small ways.
Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Try a new recipe.
Embrace those little challenges. Step outside the routine.
Keep things interesting. And finally, number 10.
Number 10, remember, age is just a number.
Yes. Never too late to explore, to challenge yourself.
Keep pushing those limits. Keep experiencing that joy of movement.
Wise words. So there we have it. 10 key takeaways from Ross Edgley's Blueprint.
A blueprint for building a resilient body and mind.
A guide to living a life full of adventure and pushing your limits.
It's been a real pleasure diving deep into this with you.
It has, and we hope it's inspired our listeners to, embark on their own adventure.
To explore their own potential, build their own bulletproof selves.
Because remember, adventure awaits, and you have the power within you to make it happen.
So go out there and explore, push those boundaries, embrace the unknown.
And until next time, keep diving deep.